It's Wake Up Worlds Quarterfinals, Day 1. Damwon Gaming sweep DRX to proceed into semifinals. Now that DRX has been eliminated, Chovy will become a free agent. Where could he end up? We'll also take a look back on some Worlds history and preview tomorrow's matchup between Suning and JD Gaming.
Big old heel is Naga, his ultimate is beautiful. First blood going over to Showmaker, and he still has the Unleashed power available. As Goshik very, very low, and that's the flash. Zenith Blade Barrel has come to play today. Look at the AoE. Showmaker flashes forward. That's going to be the Devour, but it's going to cost the life of Carrier, and now in comes Damwon, obliterating DRX. The Justice Punch will be stopped. No justice for you today, Chovy. Rookies of DRX might be in a bit of trouble here. Glacial Fissure pretty nicely avoided by Damwon as Def trying to come over. Dawning Shadow is way too late, though. Good knock-up lands onto the Graves. Def trying to take matters into his own hands as Canyon down very, very low. Chovy does a lot of damage, but Senna's just by herself. And Damwon are picking DRX apart.
Day 14 of the World Championship is in the books, and we're here to break it all down. It's Wake Up Worlds. Welcome one, welcome all to Wake Up Worlds, our ESPN eSports Daily Worlds 2020 program. He's Tyler, I'm Arda, and we are here with you every step of the way until a world champion is crowned on Halloween in 2020. Thank you so much for watching us live on Twitch and on YouTube. We are in the World's Quarterfinals. Day 1 is complete. Damwon has defeated DRX. They will be moving on to the semifinals. We'll be breaking down that and more, including breaking news, Chovy probably to TSM. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. Doing that for the clickbait, folks. Doing that for the clickbait. Let's go.
I love the clickbait.
All right, before we get to all that, let's talk about the quarterfinal matchup. Damwon defeating DRX. This one was a lopsided affair on paper, Tyler, even before we got here. Damwon soundly defeated DRX in the LCK finals. They had not lost a best-of-3 series since July 11th versus DRX, and it was more of the same here. Even though DRX did look competitive in some spots, Damwon was always set to win this one. How did you view it?
This was more of the same. I mean, I watched this it's kind of a rerun of the LCK finals where Damwon 3-0 DRX and 1-1 in my pick'em predictions here. yesterday on our bracketology show. I said it'd be 3-0 Damwon. It was 3-0 Damwon. That's coming from a Duke of the Church Chovy. I had to go against my boy Chovy in this meta with how important the jungler is, the jungle versus jungle matchup. Maybe top priority. Didn't go Damwon's way either in my brain, and it didn't work out on actual reality either. Chovy was kind of a bystander for 2 or 3 games. They tried to enable Dorian in the top lane of picks like Jace and Jax. Didn't work out. Piosik had a Grand Canyon difference in the jungle against Damwon's ace jungler Canyon. All from top to bottom, just Damwon was the better team. Even when DRX got those small leads in the early game, they didn't know how to transition into the mid and late game, which I talked about yesterday in the bracketology show, where I did believe that there was ways for DRX to get those early leads. They've been the best early game team at Worlds going into today, but their mid to late game, transitioning, their macro game has been lacking, and we saw a lot of today that even when they got a few technical mechanical outplays over Damwon, the entire map play from the South Korean champions was far too much, and DRX go out 0-3. It's another quarterfinal bow out for Chovy. Last year on Griffin, lost to Invictus Gaming in 4 games. This year he lost in 3. He only was really able to carry in 1. It was the Vel'Koz game. Other than that, he really wasn't given priority in any other of his mid lane games. Last year, kind of started with tank duty against Rookie. This year again, playing the Orianna and Galio in the first 2 games against Showmaker. It sucks. For a player of his caliber, I wish he was able to play, have more agency in his play, have more of a saying in how he went down, but it wasn't meant to be. Damwon is just the far better team. They look like I thought they are the favorites to win the championship alongside maybe TES, maybe JD Gaming. But yes, Damwon look ready and primed if they see G2 in the semifinals.
91% of you picked Damwon to defeat DRX in our ESPN League of Legends Predictor. You can play for free, espn.com/League of Legends Predictor, or if you have the ESPN Fantasy app, which is also free, you can click on the trophy tab. I am now in the 700s, Tyler.
Ooh.
I am out of thousands hell.
I'm in the
over
70s.
To the 700s.
I
am
70s.
Swimming in that AR pool that's between the players. That's what I'm
so
doing
good
right now.
Their AR is so good. The production. I'm so excited for every stage now because it's a new setting. We had the high rise, we've had the kind of the dusk, and now we have a full on flood for the quarterfinals of them just playing in a flood of NA tiers. It's quite fun.
Predict the next. Well, maybe not Pudong Stadium, but predict the semifinals. I'm gonna say it's a pit of fire.
Yes, I was gonna go fire too. You've had the kind of the airy clouds. We now have the water element. I think that it's either going to be very rocky, in the mountaintops, or it's going to be, as you said, a pit of fire. I really do think semifinals, pit of fire. Let's go pit of fire.
The floor is lava, literally.
Floor is lava, and it's and someone's going to trip and fall, and it's going to be a lot of great memes from that. So I can't wait for the pit of lava in the semifinals, Riot.
Let's rate the players strictly from the Damwon DRX matchup. So this is not a rating of Worlds entirely. No. This is a rating strictly from this quarterfinal matchup. Tyler, let's start with you, and let's start with Damwon Gaming.
I was quite optimistic about their game today. I thought they played brilliantly, all 5 of them. I gave 4 of the 5 players 9 out of 10s, and my 10 rating I gave it to Canyon for how much he smacked Piosik in the jungle. Even in the last game, on the 3rd game, he played Piosik's signature champion, the champion he is named after, Arda. He picked the champion that he is named after, Kindred, and showed him how to play Kindred at the best top level. Canyon today was my MVP. The other 4 players I give 9s. Beryl, again, I think Beryl might look a bit worse if you watch the tape of him. He gets caught out a few times in the jungle. But I think the thing about Beryl that makes him a 9, in my opinion, is that he's always there. Anytime that DRX felt like they had an opportunity to have an outmanned advantage on the map, Beryl was always lingering behind. He was always there with Canyon, backing him up in these big plays. And his playmaking abilities is second to none in the World Championships when it comes to the sport. Just an all-around great team effort from Damwon. To go to the quarterfinals and to just smack a team of DRX's caliber this badly, we just saw TES versus DRX have very competitive games. Damwon smacked around a team that made the quarterfinals and looked very good doing it. This looked like a better DRX team than the LCK version that Damwon smacked around, but the end result was very much the same. I was impressed by all 5 players. Naguri, his Ornn play, he's showing the evolution of him as a player. Last year, he was this very wild, mechanically, very, very kleptomancy-centric player who was very greedy, sometimes played far too forward in lane, was impatient. Now we're seeing him as this very patient, smart, intelligent player who doesn't not only have the mechanics to go up against anyone in the world, but he has the brains now and the patience to play in these team fights so beautifully. So all around, I give all the 9s except Kanan, who I think gets the 10 for the day. He played perfectly in my opinion. He just outright destroyed Piosik.
Yeah, you take a look at my rankings here too. I think I ranked Beryl and Canyon too low. Canyon led in kills in 15 in the entire game, and KDA as well with the 30. I think the only reason I rated Canyon and Beryl in 8 and the 7 is because I thought Naguri and Showmaker were so good. And I think it wasn't like a knock on Beryl and Canyon. It was just that I thought, like, Showmaker, I thought just took over. Like, he was unstoppable this series. He had a 25 KDA, 60% kill participation rate on Twisted Fate, Syndra, and Orianna. And Naguri, that second game, he won that with his Ornn play, right? Like, that team fight, like, it was all Naguri. So, like, those were the moments that stuck in my head, but that does not take away at all from Canyon and Beryl's performances, because Canyon was a stat monster in this series. So.
It's hard to rank. It's hard to rate excellence, Arda. When 5 players are playing so well, it's really hard to figure out how well you want to rate them. I think for Damwon, I think anything 7+ for any of the 5 players is a good deal, depending on what your evaluation of them are. I can't really disagree with the Showmaker 10 and Naguri 10. Beryl 7, again, he does look sloppy at times. He does get caught out. I value his go-getterness. I value his proactive play, that even when he does have some of those derpy moments, he makes up for them in the long run. But I do see a 7 could be valuable, because against DRX, it's passable. You can get by having some derpy plays, but if Beryl has these moments where he gets caught out against a TES or a G2, then he might be in trouble, and that might swing the other way for Damwon if Beryl can't be perfect in their next upcoming game. So I think those are solid ratings all around.
Start us off on the DRX ratings now.
Oof. I mean, I think we'll start at the bottom.
Speaking of derpy plays, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, Piosik is a 2. He had such an awesome tournament. It sucks that it ends this way. Getting destroyed by a signature champion against Canyon, kind of showing the difference between the two. Did not have a good day. Looked out of place a lot of the time. Some big team fight moments where he wasn't online with the rest of the team. Got blown up when he probably should have been using the Kindred ultimate. Those split-second reactions that he was making in the group stages weren't there today. My other 2 goes to Deft, and that it pains me to give him a 2. It pains me. We all saw the photo that the official LL Esports Twitter posted after the game of Deft crying. This meant so much to him. He is regarded as one of the greatest AD carries of all time, and he still does not have that moment at Worlds. He's never won the World Championship. He's still waiting to get that moment. He's won an MSI, but really the World Championship is what makes the all-time superstars into immortalized legends, and you can see the pain on him, and he had a terrible day, ineffective all the way around. He was invisible. Really, the word you have to describe with Deft is invisible. He lost lane repeatedly versus Ghost. Even the 1v1s in the bomb lane when the 2 supports were roaming, didn't really find any advantages there. Had a very quiet day. Overall, I think the best player of the day for DRX was Kyria. When I look at the best moments of the day, it was Kyria with the roaming Lulu, with the Tom Kench. If it wasn't for Kyria, this series would have been a lot worse. He saved his teammates a lot of times with his outplays, with the Lulu, with the Tom Kench in game 2. I don't think he was stellar in lane. They were obviously losing lane a lot of the time. But when he was roaming, he was far more active than even Piosik. I think he was better in the jungle than Piosik was today. So Kyria, a rookie, macro-wise, in terms of the laning-wise, I don't think he had the best day. But I think in terms of those mechanical outplays, those moments where he saved his teammates with the Tom Kench, and Lulu, and he kind of got some of his teammates rolling, especially Dorian in the top lane. I give him a lot of credit. And then for Dorian and Chovy, Dorian was given the keys to carry, had a few good moments, but overall wasn't good enough to actually propel himself into a late game scaling monster on Vlad or even Jax. And then Chovy, I love the man. I love him, but all suboptimal day, and you want him to see better play on the Vel'Koz. The game was too messy and chaotic in Game 3 on Vel'Koz for the tentacle monster to really find his footing, so to speak, when he doesn't really have any feet. But like overall, just a disappointing day all around for DRX. All 5 of them thought they could have played better today. It was a game where they weren't proactive enough in the first 2, and then in Game 3 when it got chaotic, they just weren't fast enough on the fingers to beat Damwon. So overall, sayonara, DRX. Maybe we'll see you next year. We'll talk about the free agency situation coming up, but these 5 players could have played better today. But alas, they are now out.
So I just want to quickly show my rankings here and echo your thoughts about Piosik, because he was getting memed going into this. I mean, we all know the Piosik story and everything, but he had a terrific group stage. I really want to stress this. He was one of the stars of Worlds entirely in the group stage. He popped off in the group stage, and he was invisible this series. He had 10 deaths on Graves, Nidalee, and his namesake Kindred. And the jungle matchup is so important, like you've said many times before on this program, Tyler, and he just couldn't show up.
No.
I have a question for you, though. I'd love to know, because Chovy was put on, like you said, except for Game 3, he really wasn't put on champions where he could shine.
Yeah.
So why was that? Why wasn't Chovy given the keys in this series?
I think it's partly the meta. You don't play out of the mid lane, except if you get Syndra. Syndra is banned most games. I think Chovy's comfortable on these Ting champions. I feel like in the minds of the coaching staff, like Galio has enough agency to play in the side lanes to swoop in, save the day, get outnumber attacks, snowball either the bottom lane or top lane enough for him to be an X factor. But I think like overall, it's a lot of the meta to do with it. He just wasn't in the right position to succeed, and they played what the meta was. They tried to play through jungle. They tried to play through top lane. And those were the 2, most flimsiest members throughout the year for DRX, and Dorian and Piosik. And both players had shining moments during the tournament to show that they could play up to this level in a big matchup. But when it actually came to this, Goliath, this return match versus Damwon, I think nerves got a bit to them. I don't think any player on DRX could really say they played the best today, even Chovy. Chovy could have played better in certain situations, even when he didn't have lane priority. So it's disappointing. But I think DRX, CV Max talked about in the post-match press conference that he was very, very proud of his young players, of Piosik and Dorian and Kyria, and how much they've grown throughout the year, and that he feels like a top 8 finish is a very remarkable and something they should be proud of, making top 8, versus a Damwon team that's seasoned, who is ready to make the next step in their evolution, where DRX is still very similar to Damwon last year, where Damwon got out in the quarterfinals to G2. I feel like DRX feels like there's brighter pastures ahead if they can keep the same lineup into 2021.
37% of you selected Canyon to have more kills in the quarterfinals than Piosik in our ESPN League of Legends predictor. I am proud to say I was one of those 37%. Same. Excellent. We are perfect in this quarterfinal matchup. I guess that remains to be seen in the remaining quarterfinal matchups. So this leads us, Tyler. You knew this was coming, buddy. We got to do it, okay? Journalistic integrity here, okay? Capital J. You launched a brand new chart a few shows ago. It was called the Chovy Optimism chart. And now after a sound 3-0 sweep, defeat, crushing, stomping, whatever you want to call it, where's that optimism level, bud?
Yeah, first off, I have to say I made this chart before they rolled Damwon in the quarterfinals. This chart wasn't supposed to be a meme. It wasn't supposed to be a one and done. I actually was like, cool, if DRX gets Suning or they get Genji, I feel like they have a chance to make it out. Chovy can shine. Then they got rolled into Damwon, and it kind of became a meme. So my chart for Chovy is over. As quicker, a bit quicker than the North American Optimism chart. The North American optimism chart was a long, painful end. It was stretched out over like 14 days of agony. The Chovy optimism chart was a very quick exit, a very quick slice, and I was, loud out of my agony.
Why is he still thumbs up in the graphic though? Why is he still
happy?
happy?
Because he's about to get paid a lot of money. He's going to pay a lot of money in the offseason, Arda. He's about to get paid. And we'll talk about the next in our next segment. But so yes, the Chovy optimism chart is over, but there always must be one chart in the land, Arda. There must always be one chart on Wake Up Worlds, which is why today I would like to unveil my new chart, the SOFM optimism chart, the Vietnamese star, the one lone star of Hanoi, the Vietnamese superstar himself, SOFM, style of me. The optimism chart is here, Arda. I love Vietnam. I was there last year. It quickly became one of the favorite countries I've ever visited. I love their fans. I love the passion from the Vietnamese fans. And SOFM has won my heart during the World Championships. Not only does he control his jungle, he controls the entire jungle, counter jungling 24/7. I love his style. I love his pace. I love his breakneck, just passion, Arda. In a region, I'm coming from North America with a lack of proactivity, and we just saw DRX have a lack of proactivity in their game. I know that Suning might lose tomorrow, SOFM might lose tomorrow, but I'm damn sure that he's going to go out with a fight. He is not going to die without playing balls to the wall, and that is why I have the SOFM optimism chart.
Why didn't you just pick a Damwon chart or something?
That's
like
too
at least
easy.
a team that
Too easy.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay.
I'm not a bandwagoner, Arda. I'm not just gonna be like, oh, here's the Damwon optimism chart. Oh, I'm at 100 out of 10. I'm at the moon, Arda. No. I'm sticking with I'm down here with the soldiers and the true heart and grit, Arda. I'm more about the grit than the glam. I'm the streetlights over the spotlights, Arda. I like to live for the underdog. And for the underdog, I have SOFM, the only Vietnamese player at Worlds 2020. The region teams not able to participate. He is their lone hopeful. The countrymen and countrywomen sending him gifts in barrels after barrel, a slew of gifts to SOFM this tournament from the Vietnamese fans. I have to support him. I have to support my boy here. I can't wait to see how he does tomorrow. If JD Gaming beats them, then we'll have to get a new chart. But for right now, I'm at 10 out of 10. SOFM is about to wreak havoc on JD Gaming tomorrow,
Arda. The people's analyst, Fionn on fire, indeed. All right, let's talk about Chovy. Let's talk about his next moves. Elephant in the room. He is a free agent now, and there are a lot of teams that would love to subscribe to the Church of Chovy this offseason. And of course, the conversation is naturally going to lead to whether Chovy stays in Korea or goes elsewhere. And of course, being a North American-based program, we will obviously ask the question, will Chovy or could Chovy or will he even entertain the idea of joining a North American team? In all seriousness, Tyler, is there any possibility, getting this right out of the gate, that Chovy could entertain offers? Or will it be a faker situation where they slide him a blank check and he just rips it up in their face?
Are we in a world of a vaccine or no vaccine? If there's a vaccine, if the COVID, I think this is very COVID related. I mean, it's difficult. If we were in a world of no COVID, I actually think North America would have a quite good chance of getting Chovy. Evil Geniuses, for all I know, was second place in the Chovy sweepstakes last year. They were the team that Chovy turned down to go back to DRX to play for CVMAX. EG offered a deal over $3 million per year, a multi-million dollar deal for Chovy. And in the end, Chovy sat down with his mom and he basically said, I believe I want one more chance. I want one more go with my head coach, my mentor, my sensei, CVMAX. I want to ride one more ride, Arda, one more ride in South Korea. I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to play for DRX. I'm going to try to make this world dreams come true. DRX did a video where they were shocked. They had no idea why he signed with them. They were like, we can't offer you the amount of money that EG is offering you or the LPL teams are offering you. But Chovy said he wants to play for CVMAX for 1 year and to live out that dream. 365 days later, that dream has come to an end. On the good part, Chovy's stock has only risen over the year. He's shown that he's a more capable player, a more all-around superstar mid laner than just a soul-focusing Lane Kingdom kind of player. So on that part, his stock hasn't gone down. Will he start? I think the first question: does he stay with DRX? From my understanding, DRX is paying him around $1 million per year, which is that doesn't like so. Chovy isn't not eating. He's eating well. He's eating very well at DRX. He's making $1 million per year, but he's obviously going to be offered a lot more money from China and possibly North America, depending on COVID related issues. Last year, it was simple for an EG to offer that kind of money when it was easier to get visas for getting a visa for a player of that caliber. It was much easier last year, and now it's much harder to secure visas in this kind of climate. Also, the money situation might not be as lucrative from these N18s with the current COVID situation, with obviously the economy in North America not its best state, with so many things, like with the virus really not doing. It's wrecking North America quite well. It's like Worlds 2020. It's not going well for America right now in the COVID situation. So overall, throw out some teams, Arda. Throw out some teams. I'll give you if I think they can. If Chovy might go to there.
Well, I'm thinking more regions. I mean,
okay.
There are teams that we don't know how teams are going to shake down in terms of what mid laners will be available, etc. But if I were Chovy, I'd probably be looking at the LPL if I want to win, right?
I think LPL is probably most likely the most likely option here. I've talked to a few people who know Chovy, who are in his inner circle, so to speak, and they believe that China would be the most likely option. There's always the Hail Mary of an EG or a TSM or a Team Liquid. Not likely TSM, they have Bjergsen, but a Team Liquid, coming off a Jensen and Impact contract, going for the big fish of Chovy, or EG obviously trying to run it back, trying to get the player that they almost got last year. Now that they have Huni and Bang, to kind of create a majority Korean roster that Chovy could slide into and not feel out of place. But I think the most likely option is to go to the LPL. He does leave the LCK, and we saw a few days ago Tarzan, his former jungler teammate, announced that he is going to LPL next year, 2021. FOMO's reporter Kenzie also reported that he's more than likely going to LNG Esports. So there's a lot of teams in China that are going to want Chovy if he puts his hand up and says, I'm trying to look elsewhere. He's going to field a lot of offers. I would say that DRX still has a chance. There always is that, the tug on your heartstring story of, CME Max coming to him being like, come on, man, one more time, one more rodeo, one last dance, baby, one last dance. And, maybe Chovy is swayed and he does sign another, 1 million, 1.5 million deal instead of, signing, a multi-million dollar, $2, $3, $4, $5 million deal. I've heard upwards plus 5 million from sub clubs in terms of Chovy last year. Who knows with the COVID situation if those deals are still out there. But I still think he will get a big bag this offseason. I would put my money majority pro in LPL. I think LPL is more than likely. I think a few LCK teams like Hanwha, KT, DRX will offer him. Maybe he will want to stay home during the COVID situation. Wants to stay home, wants to stay near family, doesn't want to travel to China. Definitely probably doesn't want to travel to North America in these trying times. So I would say more than likely, I think he's going to end up in the LPL. Like if I had to bet, if I was a betting man, Arda, if I was a betting man, I think there's too much money, there's too much talent, and the opportunity of not only to make $3+ million a year and secure your future, not only for yourself, but your mom, your grandparents, your future children by signing a long-term big money deal in China. You don't only have that to you, but you can also guarantee yourself a good chance to win Worlds, right? Where you can set yourself on a very good team in China, maybe another Korean import besides you. Kanavi, one of his close friends from JD Gaming, is also a free agent this upcoming offseason. So I would not be shocked if Kanavi and Chovy do a Bosch LeBron and take their talents to some team in China and just make tons of money and aim for a world championship that way. But the CV Max option is always there. He really does care and love his mentor, CV Max. He respects him over anyone else. He turned down, arguably $5 million last year to play. He turned down he took a difference of $4 million to play for CV Max last year. So who knows what his mind really tells him this offseason, especially in the COVID world. But it's going to be very interesting. He is obviously, I think, the marquee free agent going into the 2020 offseason in our free agency. So alongside Chovy, Alfari, and a few others.
Breaking news, Chovy joins Team Liquid. See you later, Jensen. Also free agent, goes back to Europe. Chovy takes the bag, $5 million a year, off to TL.
What about this, Arda?
Okay.
Naguri top lane, Chovy mid lane, Team Liquid. What about that? What about Steve just opens up?
Is out. Yeah, Impact's a free agent.
Yeah.
But then what happens with Broxah and Core JJ? They leave too?
Oh yeah. You have to. Oh yeah, there are only 2 imports. I guess. I mean, I think
Tactical. You're building the team around Tactical and Core.
Yeah.
So
I think only one. You're not going to get Naguri and Chovy, but who knows?
But you make a good point though. Like to me, okay, I'm putting COVID aside. Obviously, COVID is gonna the best laid plans fall by the wayside in COVID, and there are a lot of players that we've spoken with, Tyler, that have said, "Look, I just want to be home. Like I don't want to be away from home and not be able to go and not travel safely." So that is definitely a factor. Putting that aside, if we do assume, hopefully, that everything safely we are closer to a normal world that we remember from yesterday, a vaccine, etc., then we can talk about Chovy opening up to the world and thinking of options here. It's going to take a significant bag because China has the money too. So it's going to take like ludicrous money, right? To outbid the LPL, where even Chinese teams are like,
to come to NA,
you know what I mean? Like
it's going to take $5+ million,
Yeah, and it's going to take an amount that people will laugh at almost. It's going to be a memed amount, like the Huni contract. It's going to be a memed amount of money.
Far bigger than Huni. And
right, but I mean like in the level of memeing, I guess, right? Like it's going to take 5+ or something ridiculous to lure someone of that ilk to come to the LCS and play here.
And to get a visa is also just another mountain you'll have to climb. So I think NA is at like a 5% chance, maybe a little lower. I think it's majority. I think LPL leads. I would say LPL is probably like 60, 65. If the LPL teams open their wallets, I think obviously Tarzan is going there. I think Chovy is going to talk to Mr. Chovy and be like, "Hey, China's pretty sweet. Like, you know, you get a lot of money. Like the fandom here is insane. Like I'm in like magazines and commercials. Like I'm in McDonald's commercials, man. Like it's real. It's big time out here.
Nike commercials.
Nike commercials.
Yeah, like crazy.
Yeah, like you could be one of the faces of one of the biggest sporting leagues in China tomorrow if you sign up a team. So I think the allure of China. I think he played so well, and I think he showed enough throughout the year that I think LPL teams. There's 16, 17 of them, 17 franchises. One of them is going to have to. One of them will open the bag for Chovy, and one of them is going to give him a $3+ million deal. And I can't see how he turns it down again. He might want to do the one last dance of CV Max again, but they made quarterfinals, man. It's not like they lost in the finals. It's not like they lost in the semifinals in a close 3-2 series.
Sure,
they got destroyed. They got destroyed by a much better Damwon team. And if that Damwon team runs it back next year, what's the chances that he's going to find a better team than the LCK? So, if I was Chovy, I'd be looking to LPL. And maybe an LCK team if, a DRX or a KT or Hanwha give you a big time offer, plus they promise you a superstar roster. But that's quite unlikely. So LPL, per usual, is probably going to be leading the race. we'll keep tabs on it, but it's going to be a very busy offseason.
Listen,
lots of things up in the air.
Listen, grabbing a bag and having a better chance to win sounds like a win-win situation. So, anyway, like you said, we will be monitoring Chovy's progress as we get into free agency, and we may or may not have some announcements to make regarding free agency later on in the month. So, follow us on Twitter.
A 48-hour show, Arda. A 48-hour show.
Is that what we're doing? A 2 days straight?
2 days straight.
No breaks.
Free agency.
Food, nothing.
It's just going to be Jacob Wolf on camera for 48 hours with 20 phones connected to him at all times. Oh, it's going to be good. It's going to be good,
we're just standing there like filling content. Like, okay, so for the 10th time, Tyler, will Chovy come to the LCS? Like we're just like continuously the same topic.
We're at 3%, Arda. We're at 3%. 2.7%.
You have a meter. You have a meter like different players. Tyler's optimism meter for different players and where they go. Okay. Here's a new segment on Wake Up Worlds. Today in Worlds history. This is where we look back on some great moments that have happened in Worlds in years past. Tyler, you picked a special matchup from 2014.
This matchup was a banger, and I think it's looking back at the Damwon versus DRX series. seeing that be such a whitewash, such a mollywop, and then you go back to 2014, C9 versus Samsung Blue. I think very similar kind of expectations where C9 was in the DRX spot. If they were expected to get 3-0'd, they are the outman, the outgun, the outmuscle team. Samsung Blue, featuring Deft for all, kind of swinging all back here. Deft from now the DRX team. Back then on Samsung Blue, one of the tournament favorites, came to this tournament, came to the series as 95, 99%, like they should beat the North American team. And C9 knew they were outgunned, and it was a series of one man high, the commander, the chief of C9, piloting his team, and it was a marvel to watch him play chess with a team trying to outbox them, to outmuscle them. And we saw so many different intriguing ways how C9 and High kind of tried to combat their weaknesses and to kind of cover them up with, the split pushing and the jungle warfare. And it was really awesome to see, a team that was outmatched play a style not to go head to head of a team that could just steamroll them in team fighting, but try to pick them apart. And obviously Cloud9 did lose the series 3-1, but it was such a close series overall. C9 almost could have made this a 5-game series. In a different world, it could have been one of the biggest upsets of all time if C9 could have pulled it out. But it's fondly remembered as one of the best Worlds quarterfinals matches of all time. And still to this day, I love watching the series because we see so many times where it's DRX versus Damwon, and it's a heavy favorite versus a team that wants to play the same style, and they just get punched out, right? Where it's Damwon is just way better at everything DRX does, and they smash heads and they just get crushed. Where C9, they knew they couldn't play Samsung style, and they did everything to combat that and to play around it. So I wish we could see more of these, intriguing, these innovative play styles when you're outgunned. But that's what makes C9 versus Samsung Blue so special. It's not something that happens very often where a team who's outmatched outthinks the opponent and steals victories away and makes the series a lot closer than it should be on paper.
So that is today in World's history. We will bring you a couple more as we go along here. Every step of the way, we are with you until a world champion is crowned. I got it, Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
Stay with me on this one.
Mm-hmm.
C9 Chovy.
That'd be beautiful. I mean, oh man,
would Jack pay the money? You think? I don't know if he would.
I don't think he would. I think he's happy with Niski. I think Jack is punching himself because I really do think Jack looks at this meta and says, "We could have done something here. Like this meta fits us perfectly. Like we would have rocked this meta. Yeah. Like with Blabber and Vulcan roaming, Niski on his kind of support utility mages." Licorice with the Ornn and the Volibear in the top lane, Sven on the Senna, farming silently in the bottom lane while his jungler and support roam around the net. Like this fits C9 beautifully. So C9 Chovy would be any NA team could love Chovy, right? Because Chovy is a player who just wins lane. He doesn't need really anyone to enable him. He just wins lane automatically, most likely. Like he wins 10 CS, 15 CS against most opponents. So he is not a player that really needs to be enabled or kind of pushed. He could do most of his things on his own. So that's kind of what makes him such a special player. But alas, don't get me started on NH Chovy, man. I mean, he's going to China. China's going to open the back. He's going to go to like LNG or OMG or JDG or one of the Gs. He's going to go to somewhere that's rude of you to give one of the Gs.
G2.
One of those.
Before the LCS. Like, I got it. Before we go, let's give a preview of Suning taking on JDG. That's happening on Friday. And don't forget, right after that matchup at 11 a.m. Eastern, we will be back live here on Twitch and YouTube breaking down this matchup. But to preview it here, your boy, SOFM, leads all players in the group stage with a 13.9 creep score differential at 10 minutes, compared to JD Gaming's jungler Kanavi, who ranked 10th. With a 7.2. So that's a decent jungle matchup, at least in terms of creep score for SOFM. But how do you rank these two teams?
I think it'll be a lot closer than today's action. I think JD Gaming is still favored. I would still say they're going to win 3-1, 3-2. But there's more options for Suning than DRX had versus Damwon Gaming, where, again, SOFM, the style of me, the counter jungling monster, his CSD differential or CS differential at 10 kind of shows what kind of player he is. He kind of takes over the jungle. He is up 14, 15, 20 CS in the early game. Never really outside of the jungle camps, always farming. If he ganks, he's right back into the wolves, right back under Grump. He's always looking to get that edge in the CS department. And I think the X factor here is Bean in the top lane, where Doran, they try to unlock Doran in some of these matchups versus Ornn, versus the tank of Naguri. I think Bin is more suited if they're going to handshake and say, okay, JD Gaming, Zoom, you play the Ornn, you're very comfortable on the Ornn, probably the best Ornn player in the world. Here, Suning, Bin will take that matchup and play the Jax. He'll play the Jace. He'll play the Renekton. He'll play a more hyper-aggressive in-lane champion to kind of carry late game. And I think that might be a possibility where Suning can win from that, where I think today I could not see a way where Doran was going to be the ace, the carry on the Jax or the Vlad to really pull DRX to the miracle victory. I think Bin has shown in the group stages already he can be that big carry. He can put the team on the back, on the gangplank, on these big carries, and take Suning to the finish line. And that's kind of where I'm watching tomorrow. I'm looking at that top side of the map. Can SOFM snowball Bin? I know Bin's going to pick the carries. He's not going to back down. He doesn't pick tanks more than he's not a tank player. He's a player that is going to say, this is my matchup. I am going to say I'm the best top laner in the LPL. I'm taking down Zoom. And I think it's really going to come down to that top side. Can Bin be the big carry? Can he show that he is the next great top lane carry of the Shy, of Naguri, of Marin, of Smeb? Can he kind of hit that legacy, being the next great Chinese top laner since Gagoi? We have not had, a all-around elite world-class top laner who's carried at the World Championships since Gagoi on OMG. Can Bin be the next in line? I think for Zoom, it's very much the same, where he wants to take that legacy and be the next great top laner since Gagoi. So Zoom versus Bin, that's the matchup to watch. Who's going to win out?
So Thursday, it's going to be Friday, it's going to be Suning versus JDG. Saturday, Fnatic versus TES. Sunday, G2 versus Gen G. That will round out the quarterfinals. We will be live at 11 a.m. Eastern every single day here on Twitch and YouTube. Won't you join us? Thank you so much for watching today. And good vibes and acts of kindness. Tyler, we will see you tomorrow. Hey, 100 Thieves Chovy. Nate Shot, open the purse.
Oh, man. He could sell some gear. He could definitely sell some merch, that Chovy. He's a tall, lanky dude. He's a good model. You'd be a good model. And I think Nate Shot would look at that. So
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's get those clickbait. Oh, clickbait. Let's get that clickbait videos out. 100 Thieves Chovy.
See you tomorrow.